Good morning, my name is Jacob Folger. I'm an artist sculptor, and today we're going to make a pig. Now I made this pig yesterday, and I decided that I would do a tutorial on how to do it. And we're going to be working in polymer clay, and this is, I use black because I like the way my finishes look on black. And I'm going to show you also how to do a finish. And the brand I'm using is Sculpey 3. Now you can use any brand you want, but it's important that whatever brand you choose, that it does not shrink. And the reason why is because we're going to be using glass eyes, and the glass eyes will not be shrinking. So if the clay shrinks around the eyes, it could crack and damage the sculpture. So just keep that in mind. Down below the video, in the video description, there is a tool and supply list, and there's also going to be a source for where to buy glass eyes. There's going to be baking instructions on how to bake your pig after you make it, and also a couple videos on how to smooth polymer clay so that you can refer to that when you're trying to get your pig nice and smooth prior to baking. We'll go ahead and get started with a ball of clay. Now I'm using 12 millimeter size eyes, and it's important that the head that you're making is not really huge, because if you're kind of going for this cute look with big eyes, then you've got to use make the head to be proportionate to the eyes, or the eyes proportionate to the head. So just keep that in mind to get that look. If the eyes are real small on it, if you make a really big head and put 12 millimeter eyes in, it's not going to have the same effect for that cuteness that you have in this this pig here. So we started off with a piece of clay. Now we are kneading it, and that also conditions the clay, mixing up all the ingredients on the inside of it. Once we've done that, we're going to roll it into a ball like this. It's the starting point, and it also gets the surface of the clay nice and smooth. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to the ball, and I'm going to take these fingers and just kind of pull out a little bit for creating the nose, or the shape of the nose of the pig. Then I'm just kind of shaping the head a little bit by just pressing. I'm trying to create the area above the nose here. I'll flatten this out here so you can kind of see that this is the nose here. Another thing that adds to the cuteness, at least for me, and hopefully for you too, is kind of a short distance between the end of the nose and where the eyes will go. As you can see on this pig, it's a kind of a short distance. Now we're going to take a ball tool. This is a very common tool used by polymer clay artists. And we're going to start the eye sockets, and basically just pressing in to make a space for the eyes to sit. We want to be aware of the distance and the height of the eyes. We want them to be close to the same height. So I'm looking at it from this direction, and then from the sides also, and just making sure that they're going to be in the same even to each other. So kind of like that. We can check to see if the eyes are going to fit close to We can squeeze them in, but we do want some, we want there to be some space around them a little bit. To place the eyes, you just basically set them in to the eye sockets like that. And then press them in. And it's a good idea to do them like this at about the same time. That way you can see, you can match them up and get them to look the same. Looking down from the top, you can see they're the same distance out. You do want them kind of above the surface, so they're sticking out a little bit, but you don't really want them bulging out. So maybe like that. And actually, he's already got that cute look. I'm going to take my 2 fingers here and kind of pinch a little bit to form the nose a little bit more. I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to press in here at the bottom, because there's kind of, the nose comes down and goes up to allow for the mouth. I have another tool here. It's for carving, and I'm just going to carve back a space for the lower jaw. Just kind of carving back. These come in a lot of different shapes, and you can find these at an art supply store. You might want to get 2 or 3 different kinds that are, different shapes. And further pinching to define the nose a little bit. Also, the distance from the top of the head to the bottom of the head. If it's shorter, you're going to get a far more cuter look. If it's kind of like it is here. The taller the head might diminish that. You can take a piece of clay, a small piece of clay, roll it into a ball like this, flatten it out slightly, and this will be for the lower jaw. And then blend it in at the back and on the sides. You can take the ball tool again, and you can put in the nostril holes like this. And then when you put them in, you can kind of put the ball tool in the hole and then just draw up a little bit like that. It creates kind of a little teardrop shape. It's further forming the mouth a little bit. I can take a sculpting tool and just carve this in a little bit and blend it on the sides so it's kind of short, but then you can take it up and just put a little smile on him, just a little smile. Just makes them a little bit more friendly looking. Now, if you've never done anything like this before, just take your time and just be patient with yourself. See how it's got like just a little smile? Because it takes a little getting used to and getting your hands to work the way you want them to. Practicing is important. You need to practice as much as you can. Now we're going to add eyelids. And just take a piece of clay and roll it into like a noodle shape like that. Kind of position it over the eye. And then do another one for the other side. Roll it, starting with a little ball, then roll it into a noodle shape like this. Put it over the eye in the same area as the other ones so that they match. Press it into place and then blend it in the back. Blending means to draw the clay from one part to another so they become one. You see this with a little bit of practice, this will come together for you very quickly. We've only been working for a couple minutes now. There's no doubt in my mind that you'll be able to make a pig your first time out. It's going to look pretty good, but it might be a little bit rough because you're new. If you're new. Some people are not new. Now we can start the body. So I'm going to lay the head down here a little bit for a minute, and I'm going to get a little bit of clay. Now I want the emphasis to be on the head of the sculpture, so I'm not going to make a really huge body. I'm just going to make something that works kind of like this pig here. And once I knead it a little bit, I'll roll it into a ball as a starting point. Again, that gets it nice and smooth like that. I'm going to take my fingers, holding it like this, and I'm going to roll it, kind of creating a neck for the body, and also kind of a little bit of a chubby body there, stomach. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of galvanized steel wire. This is 18 gauge. Cut off a couple inches. I'm going to put that down into the body. And then I'm going to score the top of the neck where it's going to join the head, and I'm going to kind of rough it up. And that will give a better bond. And then I'm going to do the bottom of the head as well. And this will join the pieces really well. And the wire will help support it. I'm going to put the head on the wire, slide it down, and then twist the parts together. And then I'm going to blend the body into the head. I'm trying not to touch the eyes or the features of the face when I'm doing this, because it could deform it. I'm just smoothing this out now. I can kind of tilt his head down a little bit. Now, if you pay attention to the positioning of his body, you can see, like on this pig, he's kind of like leaning a little bit. That just adds again to the cuteness of the piece. So I'm kind of doing the same thing here with this pig. Now what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of clay, roll a ball like this, maybe a little bit bigger than that, like that, and I'll make 2 of those balls. These are going to be for his hips. I want them to be about the same size, like that. And now I'll squeeze it, and I'll score it. I'll score the side that's joining the side of the body down here. Score the body also. It just makes a better bond. And then put it on there. Blend it in the back. Kind of like that. Do the same thing on the other one. Score it. Apply it to the body. Blend it in the back. Now what we can do is take a little bit of clay, and this is going to be for the feet. And I'm going to roll a little oblong shape like this. Apply it to the front of the hip like that. And take another sculpting tool and blend that in. Ideally, you'll use your fingers as much as possible if you're new, and that will get them used to working, but if you need to use tools, you can. Now I'm making this these little feet here pointing kind of toes inward. Again, adds to the cuteness of the piece. And then I can go around and just sculpt that in. Kind of blending it into the body a little bit. Now you can also take your sculpting tool and just press in around where the leg joins the body, and that can, while blending at one point, it also can define that a little bit for you. So there's definitely a break there, so it looks natural. You also want to upend the pig and blend in his feet to the body, so it's a nice bond. Kind of make sure you do that. Any place where it joined and it didn't get a nice bond or a smooth transition, you can blend that in. So he's kind of got, he's got a little bit of a slumping pose, but that's also very natural, rather than having him sitting all rigid. Now you can take a small noodle of clay like this shape here. You can take a knife. This knife looks really sharp, but it's really not so sharp, so it's okay for me to cut like this, but you have to be careful, of course. So I'm going to put these side by side, position them where I want them, and then press them into the body and blend them in. And where you can't reach, you can also use the sculpting tool to blend them in. Kind of have a nice smooth transition from the leg into the body. On the bottom, upending it again, there's going to be a bit of a gap here. So you can take a little bit of clay and just fill that in and then blend it. This will make it really structurally sound, and you can, have it and enjoy it for many years. If you just take your time and do these things. Just going around and blending the legs. Now you can do more to make that look better when you go to smoothing. Now another thing that will add to the cuteness of the piece is to tilt the head slightly like this. Just kind of have him looking at you curiously. Like that. And now we'll add the ears, starting with 2 balls of clay that are the same size. This will make it easier to get the ears to be about the same size when you apply them to the head. So if one is smaller than the other, then you add a little bit of clay and roll it again. Like that. Then you can roll it like this, and it creates like a cone shape. Do the other ear at the same time or right after, so you kind of making them together to be about the same, like that. Now you definitely want to score the ears and the head where they're going to join the head. They're going to go up just above and back of the ears, of the eyes. press it into place and let it hold there for a minute, and then also score the other ear. Locate the same place on the head on the other side so that they're about even, and put that ear into place. Now the reason why I wait to do the ears is so that I'm handling this sculpture a lot and I don't want to disturb the ears too much after I put them on. And wherever I can't reach with my fingers, I'll use my tool. Just blending them. One thing I should tell you, the best way to handle the sculpture when you're holding it in your hands is just to cradle it, and always avoiding the the features like the eyes and the mouth and the nose. Trying to avoid that. Now something that will add to, again, cuteness can be to position the ears in such a way that they are kind of flopping down, or one standing up and one flopping down, but just kind of positioning them so they also look kind of cute, because that's definitely what we're trying to achieve here, is a cute pig. And pigs have what they call cloved feet. So what we do here is just take a sculpting tool like this and sculpt in a little line between the toes. For cloved feet. And that just adds more to the natural look. Now you can finally go back and just decide what looks good as far as getting him to look the most cute. And you can change the positioning of his head a little bit. Move it forward, move it back, and just get to a point where you're happy with that look. And then we'll go ahead and put a little tail on him. The way to do this is to take a little bit of clay like this, roll it into a ball and then into a noodle. Sometimes rolling it on the table is easier to get it nice and small but uniform. Just gonna cut a little bit off here. Again, I'll just cradle him in my hand, and I'll put the tail on his back in the middle, blend it in like that, and then just curl it around like that, and then just press it slightly, and there you have a little curly tail. For my friend Pam, who asked me if my pig had a curly tail, I just wanted to say hello to Pam. Okay, and yeah, so there he is, and now you'll want to go to the smoothing videos in the video description down below the video take a look at those. And a couple points that are really important is to be, when you're doing the smoothing, to be very careful around the eyes, the nose, the mouth, places where there's extreme detail that you don't want to mess with, and just be careful about that. And then when you've had a chance to do that, we'll come back and we'll put a finish on him. Okay, we're back, and hopefully you have a nice smooth pig. And now we're going to put a finish on him. And I'm using Pearl X Pigments. This is a powder. It comes in many different colors. It's actually very easy to apply. You can apply it with your finger. You can apply it with a paintbrush. I'm going to use my finger for most of it, and the best thing to do is put some of it in a lid that you can work from. And dip your finger into the powder like this, swirl it with your thumb to kind of get it a little bit more subdued, and then just wipe it on with your finger. Now for me, I kind of like more of a subdued look. You might like yours brighter, just depends on you. And just go around and apply it. And then what I do afterwards is go back and touch it up with a brush where I can't reach because my finger is a broad surface. Now, you also can glaze it. You can put a glaze over top of it if you want. I don't usually do that just because I like the way it looks. It will hold up for a long time without a glaze. But if you prefer glaze, you can get that from your art or craft store. So every time I dip my finger, I swirl it with my thumb just to kind of get it subdued, more subdued, because otherwise it'll go on really heavy, and I'm not looking to do that. When it goes on with your finger like this, it really looks a lot better to me, and I just like the way it appears. But then I do use a brush to touch it up, so I'll get a little bit on my brush, and then I'll dab that on the table to get the excess off, and then I'll go back and just touch it up where I feel like it needs to be touched up. I like the kind of mottled look it has with the bronze. It's really just kind of a pretty, really antique-y look. It has a lot of character. I also do the bottom because I like continuity in the finish going all the way around. Now to clean the eyes, what I usually use is I'll take a piece of cotton or just a small piece of paper towel, and use a little bit of glass cleaner. Just put it on the cotton like that, and then I'll just wipe the eyes, and that will, I mean, because they get kind of messed up when you're working, that will really bring them to life, as you can see. I recommend signing your work. You know, you may have this pig for many years, you probably will, and it would be nice if your signature was on it. He turned out really good. He's a cute little pig. And I sure hope you will make a pig, and feel free to send me a photo. I'd love to see what you did. And so next would be baking. Again, the baking instructions are in the video description down below the video. The baking instructions are for Sculpey 3. If you used a different brand, you'll want to follow those directions and make sure you get the correct time and temperature for your sculpture. And that's about it. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of videos along these lines. And please give me a thumbs up, like the video if you liked it, and also share it with your friends and on any social media that you happen to be on. Please keep in mind that I do make things for people if you'd like something made just for you, and visit my art shop. Leave me a comment or any questions in the comment section and I will reply. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.